Hi, everybody, and welcome to this Facebook Live. Question for you. Is there an area in your life that you would like to make a change? Like you'd like to change the direction, whether it's maybe in a relationship, your career, your business, finances, recreation, some area in your life that you look at it and you say, I'd like to make some type of change. I'd like to change the direction. Well, today's episode or live is about how to make that change. And sometimes big changes happen from just little things. Let me give you an example. A big boat or a ship, with all the waves and the wind and everything like that, how does it change direction from a little rudder? That little piece of the ship steers this whole big thing one way to another. Same thing with your tongue. I know in Proverbs, I have to look it up here. In Proverbs, it says, the tongue has power over life and death. Think about that. The tongue, your words, the words that you say can change your whole life. And that's what we're going to dive into and unpack that a little bit more. Also, I think it was, Jesus said, by your words, you'll be justified and you'll be condemned. That's pretty powerful. So if we can change our lives, and if we could produce life or could produce death, it's pretty darn important. So here we go. For a long time, when I'm coaching people, I used to always say, you have control over two things. You have control over your action, you have control over your thoughts, and you have control over your actions. Well, that's true, because you do have control over your thoughts, you do have control over your actions, but sometimes I started looking at myself and I didn't really have control over my thoughts. Has that ever happened to you? You have just one of those crazy days where it's like your brain is just like going here, it's going there, it's going everywhere, and you're not really sure what's going on. But the thoughts are coming, and you seem like you don't have any control over them. So I took it a bit further and I said, okay, if I don't really have control over my thought right now, what do I have control over? And I have control over my words. Because when I start to say words either out loud or to myself, it starts to bring a picture to mind. It starts to bring a thought, whether it's positive or negative. So I started looking at it a little bit further and I said, okay, well, your thoughts, your words lead to thoughts. Your thoughts lead to emotions. Your emotions lead to action. Action lead to habits, and habits lead to your destiny, how your life is going to be. So it all starts with the words that you're saying to yourself. And too many times we're not saying the right things to ourselves. For example, I'll hear people sometimes, they'll say, oh, I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm so sick and tired of that. And you know what? In their life, they're sick and tired a lot. Or I've had people say to me, I'm just so exhausted. I'm so exhausted. And just in the course of in a conversation, they might have said, I'm exhausted so many times that by the end of it, not only are they exhausted, but I'm exhausted too. So we're going to really dive in and take inventory on what are the thoughts that you're saying, and are they leading you to where you want to be, or are they taking you to where you don't want to be? And let me explain why this is important. There's three faculties of the mind. There's three parts of the mind. There's a conscious, there's a subconscious, and there's the superconscious. The conscious is what you're aware of, what you see around you and what's going on. Unfortunately, we're only probably running our lives 5% of that time. 95% of the time, we're running our life through our subconscious, which is just, it's power, but it's not directed power. But it's immense power. It's like electricity. You have to direct it and show it the right way. If it's not directed, it's going to go on its own. And if you're not saying the right words, it's going to trigger some actions and events that might keep you stuck or might get you frustrated. And let me tell you a little bit, an example. Here's what I want you to do today about the subconscious mind, because if it's driving you most of the time, and what I mean by driving, no pun intended here, if you're driving down the road, have you ever been talking to somebody or thinking of something and you're like, oh, how did I get here? And you were kind of driving on automatic. Well, what was driving was the subconscious. You knew what to do. It's been drilled into you over and over again. You've driven so many times. Well, your thoughts and your beliefs are the same way. If you keep on saying these thoughts over and over and over in your mind, it's going to start to be embedded in there. And here's an example that I want you to do. Find somebody today. This is pretty mind-blowing, by the way. Find somebody today, and I want you to do an experiment on them. What I want you to do is I want you to tell them to hold out their arm. Let me try and get this in the camera. I want you to hold out your arm at about shoulder height, and do not let the arm go down. Let them do the resistance. Here I go. I'm working a little backwards here. So you press it down, and their hand doesn't move. Tell them to put their arm back down. Now, tell them to put their hand back up, and you're going to press down on it, and you're going to tell them to say their name. So for me, you say, my name is Mike. Okay? It stands up there. Now, what you do is tell them to put it up there again, and when you're pressing down, say a different name, like, my name is Mary. Hey, it actually went down on me. But do it with a friend. You're going to be surprised, and they look at you like, what? Is that a trick? What went on? Well, what happened was your subconscious mind knows your name isn't Mary. It knows it's Mike because it's been drilled into that over and over and over. So how to change your subconscious mind is through repetition in your words. So I want you to work on that during this week. Here's an application. This is a short live, but it's a very important one. Okay, so what I want you to do, here's how to apply it. And again, when I talk about applying, I came up with a formula the other day. Mindset plus application equals results. You can have the best mindset in the world, but if you don't apply it, you're not going to get any results. Same is true. You could, if you apply things, but your mindset isn't right, you're not going to get the results that you want. So here's your exercise for the week, or something that you can apply, is take inventory and see what's going through your mind and what's coming out of your mouth most of the time. And it's pretty interesting because there was a time down in Costa Rica when I was trying to sell the business, and a couple things went wrong that, you know, it was out of my control. You learn and whatever, but it all ended up pretty good. But for a while there, all I could do was I was just consumed by it. It was a signature on a lease. And all I did was talk about the signature on the lease, signature on the lease. And it was driving me crazy, but it was also driving other people around there. So what I did was I started changing my words, and I wasn't talking about the lease all the time. I talked about how, okay, we're going to find the right buyer at the right price at the right time. And it ended up working out. So that's your assignment this week. Go ahead. Take inventory of the words that's coming out of your mouth. At the end of the day, look back and say, what am I really talking about? What are the most common words coming out of the mouth? And are they leading me to where I want to be, or are they taking me further away from where I want to be? And if they're taking you further away, change them. Just like that ship. If you want to change the direction, you can change your life by the words that you say. Try that. Have a great day, and God bless.